Hey everyone, welcome back to the Hun Club podcast, the Cybermind Show. So this is a show where we sit down with great cyber minds and pick their brain on security trends, best practices, chat about buzzword and all that good stuff. Today is a special episode because I'm joined by René, who is a senior threat hunter at InfoGuard, and we will talk about threat hunting. So before we start, René, can you give everyone an introduction of yourself?
So, hi Tiffany. Hi. Hi all on the YouTube channel there. I am René Kretzinger, working as a senior threat hunter at InfoGuard in Switzerland. We are a cybersecurity company based in the central of Switzerland. And I'm working, my daily basis is threat hunting and hunting all the malicious activity on systems on our customers. EDR systems, NDR systems, and all the stuff. So
Yes.
searching through all the logs to check if there are any signs of attacks in their networks here.
Perfect. Really looking forward to learning more from you. So let's start our conversation by what does threat hunting actually mean to you, René, and tell us more about what do your team do as well.
Yeah, threat hunting means to me, so it's proactive. So you have to
Yeah.
search for signs of malicious activity
Yeah.
that haven't been triggered, alerts. And it's normally it's a mindset. You are not waiting for an alarm.
Yeah.
You're assuming that the adversary is already inside in your network, and then you are asking also what they are doing next in your network. Threat hunting is also, it's helping organizations to strengthen their security posture
Yeah.
against all the ransomware insider threats or cyber attacks
Yeah.
that might otherwise go unnoticed.
Yeah.
And also, we are initiating investigation to find the unusual behavior, so that maybe indicate the presence of malicious activity. And it's also a complementary to the standard process of incident detection, incident response, and remediation.
Yeah.
Threat hunting is also it's a human-based task. So you are analyzing all the stuff, all the signs, identifying signs of adversary activity, and searching all the new threats which are coming out or currently systems attacked by threat actors, and we are
Yeah.
searching for these TTPs
Yeah.
to get a better overview of the network, what is happening there,
Yeah.
and also digging into anomalies. So anomalies is
Yes.
something what is really interesting for us, patterns or suspicious behavior.
Yeah.
And also tools if they were not flagging these stuff. It's really normally we recommended to do some hypotheses. The best will be if you are using RDP, and then you're asking yourself, are there any systems exposed to the internet,
Yeah.
and are there any IP addresses connecting to these systems via RDP? That should not be the case there, but when we are seeing this, we are checking, okay, what is the threat actor doing after this if they got access via these RDP exposed systems? That is,
Yeah.
yeah. Also, my team, I'm normally one person in a threat hunting team, but
Yeah.
we have a really big or large SOC
Yeah.
in our company, and we are focusing on specifically on proactive defense. We are
Yeah.
changing the roles every month, so there
Yeah.
will be normally 3 or 5 persons in the threat hunting also, which are helping me out for all the
Yeah.
customers who are booking these threat hunting servers. And then we are checking all the data analysis, threat intelligence. You have to get a solid understanding of attacker TTPs. That's really what I recommend, to train yourself, getting all the tactics, techniques, and procedures in place. That is really what you need as a threat hunter.
Okay.
So also the offensive part is something you have to know there, not the blue, also the blue team, but you have to be good also in red teaming or pen testing to know all the attacks which attackers can use.
Yeah.
And we are using all the EDR systems, XDR systems, NDR systems, also from Vectra, where we check, okay, are there any IP address connections, DNS requests that are unusual for some systems, and checking all our own threat intelligence resource. So we in the SOC, when we are having these incidents. All the incident IOCs are also stored then in the threat intel database, and then we can use these threat intel for hunting if there are some special CVEs out there. For example, this SAP CVE, what was there, and we had some customers where some SAP systems were compromised, and that is also something to check. Okay, what they are using there, which tools they are using there, what is detected, what is not detected by the EDR systems, to getting the complete picture of these malicious behavior, what is created there by the threat actors. And it's also involving communicating relevant malicious activity. So if there's a malicious activity, we will be also checking with the customer directly when we are doing this threat hunting, and also with the incident response team, because if there's some lateral movement, when there's a web shell placed there on the web server, and the threat actors are doing some lateral movement or pivoting or post-exploitation, then it's really needed also that you will use your incident response or incident response retainer to check if there are other systems compromised. What I am also seeing it that there are systems not using EDR agents, and that is the worst case you can have in your company if there's no EDR system or antivirus system on your endpoint, then you do not have the complete visibility there. I think that is one point we can also use for later. So visibility is one buzzword which should be one of the needed things you have to be you have to see in your environment.
Totally.
And also the trends, that's something. So determine the trends and organization security environment. So you have to check for vulnerabilities, counter vulnerabilities which are exploited by the threat actors. So patching is also to enhance the security. And what we are also doing in the team is formulating these hypotheses, running these searches on through the whole month across all the logs in the data lake. And also checking all the maybe detection or checking the detection tools, what is really missed there. And then that will be used for the detection rules also to get a better detection rule in the future. That's also what we are doing there.
Sure. So really a lot of stuff that you're doing to help customers. So if you were to summarize, I guess, your approach to threat hunting, how would you describe that? Is it a different category of threat hunting, and how often do you do it? Where do you even start? Yeah.
For the approach of threat hunting, you're doing this monthly, but it can be also, there are some customers requesting some one-time huntings. So if they want to start with the threat hunting, they have not the resources there, and then they are asking us to check for some normal hypothesis driven based hunting maybe. then we will use, okay, we will ask ourselves, okay, are there any remote management tools installed there? So that is which is used for compliance based also.
Yeah.
So normally you do not have to, if there are any remote management tools installed there, 10 or whatever, then that is something which is breaking your compliance also, because remote management tools, if they are 10 or more, it's not possible to update them or have a
Yeah.
big visibility or great visibility when you're using
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
The same is also with browser or browser extensions. If there are some connections to malicious websites, and yeah, you have some browser extensions which are not acting compliant on the clients, and CISO is checking this and seeing this. Hey, why is this browser extensions installed there? It's connecting to some exfiltration sites, Mega or some other cloud buckets. That is
Yeah.
something which we have to check why that is
Yeah.
happening.
Mm-hmm.
But also baseline anomaly hunts. That's also which is we define what is normal in the environment. So
Yeah.
maybe for RMM tools, how many RMM tools are installed there? Are they installed on administrator workstations or on HR workstations? That should not happen there. But if we are
Yeah.
seeing this, then you have some anomaly there that this workstation in the HR department may be compromised.
Yeah.
And in the next month, we are also checking this and checking the baseline is, I call it, normally only administrators are allowed to install RMM tools and only one when they're using this one.
Yeah.
And when there are detections for installations for
Mm.
RMM tools, then you can use this for a better detection in your SOC. That is also what I would recommend there. Or
Yeah.
also some custom hunting, which is used. So if there are some geopolitical issues, what we are seeing there, we had also when there was the Ukraine war starting there, then we were
Yeah.
also seeing a lot of attacks on companies which have
Mm. Yeah.
other offices there.
Yeah.
That is something what we also have to check if there are some
Mm.
special attacks on these office, and
Yeah.
also CVEs.
Yeah.
When we are seeing current CVEs, then that is also something we are hunting there, like the
Mm.
SAP CV.
Yeah.
We were seeing this on a lot of customer systems that the CVE was, or they are starting to exploit this.
Mm.
That's a typical web shell there for SAP, and that is done on a daily, weekly basis by threat
Yeah.
actors. Yeah, you're seeing this
Of
every
course.
every every week, and that is
Yeah.
something where we also have to hunt and check if there are some anomalies on other systems when they are doing this lateral movement. I'm
Yeah.
also working with the SOC and with the incident response, so a middle person. So when I get an alert from a web shell placement there on the servers, then we are checking, okay, is this SAP system?
Mm-hmm.
And if there are some other connections made from the system to whatever, to the DC or something like that, that should not happen, but it can.
Mm.
Then I'm also working directly with the incident response to check the
Mm. Of
hunting.
course.
So we are helping
Yeah. Part of the
we are helping
SOC.
everything there. That's
Yeah.
part of the SOC
Yeah,
there.
from proactive to reactive, and also from what you say, it's almost to understand the company's environment first internally to know
Hmm.
what's normal so that you can see what is not normal. And then
Yep.
externally, you also need to keep up with what are the latest threat out there so that you can see whether those are in your environment. So that's very, very helpful. And then moving on, I know we did already, you gave a lot of examples of different types
Hmm.
of threat hunting that you practice. And previously we talked about these different types. Are there any of these that you want to highlight on how you do it, or we can briefly talk about each of these hunting as well?
Yeah, there are a lot of types of huntings, and
Yeah.
I think when you're researching this in the internet, there are a lot of stuff there. But I
Yes.
think some baseline-based hunting is what I would recommend to. So check which RMM tools are you using there in your environment, or are there any scheduled tasks you are using, and then you're checking, okay, are they malicious? So a
Yeah.
scheduled task started on a HR department workstation should not happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're checking, okay, what is the baseline? Which systems are
Mm-hmm.
allowed to do this? And which
Yeah.
systems are not allowed to do this? And then you
Yeah.
can enhance or get a better detection for this one. That
Mm-hmm.
is normally baseline-based hunting. Then this
Yep.
critical-based hunting is also what we are doing on a daily basis. We are checking the news, which CVEs are currently abused or
Yeah.
by threat actors,
Yeah.
and are my systems infected by the CVE? So I have to know, that
Yeah.
is also visibility. I have to know my systems.
Yeah.
And is there a system which can be breached by the CVE?
Yeah.
And then I will hunt for some signs. Are there some connection logs on the firewall? So if
Mm-hmm.
you do not have an EDR system or XDR system, then normally everyone has a firewall or an application firewall. Then they can check, okay, which systems are connecting to this website, maybe, which
Yeah.
is affected.
Yep. Yep.
And are there a lot of IP addresses or different IP addresses connecting every time to the same system? Then
Yeah.
also the URL agents used by this one, because there are also scanning engines or scanning tools outside there where the URL agents are not changed, and then you can check your logs. Are there any URL agents used by these IP addresses which
Mm.
are used by these scanning engines? Maybe that is
Yeah.
also what you can use there if you have to check network event logs or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Right.
yeah, threat actor leak-based hunting is something what we were seeing there with with Conti or with other ransomware attackers groups,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
where their data was leaked on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
You can use these signs or these IOCs to
Mm-hmm.
hunt to hunt also in your environment. So you're seeing, okay, they're using these exfiltration tools, they're using these RMM tools, they're using um, these tools to check your AD environment. So there are a lot of tools for scanning or for enumeration.
Yeah.
And then you can also hunt these tools and check also the command lines. What I will also recommend is when attackers are renaming these tools, which can
Mm.
happen, and a lot of good threat actors are doing this, then they
Mm-hmm.
are renaming these tools, but they are not rewriting these tools normally. And then you
Okay.
can check also the command lines. So there are
Yeah.
typical command lines used if you're using rclone for exfiltration or mimicuts or whatever. Then
Mm.
there are some signs they're using. These tools are using which command line, and then you can also
Yeah.
hunt for these ones.
Right.
Then
Yeah.
yeah, RFE-based hunting is something what if there is a customer asking for, they have some phishing mail, and
Yeah.
the employee was clicking on this phishing mail, and the whole attack chain was starting, and then they ask us if we can do a threat hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Was there which then we are looking for the audit logs and also for the unified audit logs. That is what I really recommend in maybe in Azure to check these logs, because there are a
Yeah.
lot of signs there for the connections they are made after
Okay.
the user was clicking on such emails or phishing emails.
Mm.
Yeah, and then also our service, the monthly contract based. So
Mm-hmm.
there, every month you have some other topics we are hunting there, and maybe exfiltration tools and exfiltration sites.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of tools outside there, and you can exfiltrate over a lot of protocols. You can also
Yeah.
exfiltrate via command line over SMTP.
Yeah.
That is also possible to send emails out
Yeah.
with the data you want to exfiltrate.
Mm-hmm.
And also typical exfiltration sites, so Mega, all the cloud buckets which are used there, or other sites. And that
Yeah.
is the data you definitely need there is all your proxy logs, the DNS logs,
Yeah.
connection
Yeah.
logs,
Mm-hmm.
and processes which are starting a connection to the outside or so. And also
Yeah.
insiders. So it can happen that insiders are also collecting all
Mm-hmm.
data and putting this on USB devices. So
Yeah.
that is also something what I was hunting when I was an administrator. I was checking, okay, which systems using USB devices. Are there any
Mm-hmm.
USB devices placed there in my environment which are not officially allowed?
Yeah.
Then you can check, okay, which data is copied to these USB devices, and check also if
Yeah.
there are insider threats. That is
Yeah.
also which what can happen in a company.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. And then also the compliance-based hunting, that is something RMM tools, or what can I also use there? Defender exclusions is also something I recommend every time. That is something we are seeing also in the incident response,
Mm-hmm.
that threat actors are using maybe ctemp or the pictures folder on your C drive to place
Mm-hmm.
all the tools they're using, and
Yeah.
adding a defender exclusion for these folders, and you won't get an alert if they are executed from these paths. Or
Yeah.
they are also when there's no EDR system on the
Mm.
system, then you you will get a breach there if there are some systems
Mm.
not using EDR systems, or they are not in the monitoring, you have no logs, then threat
Yeah.
actors have an easy way to exfiltrate all the data,
Yeah.
use the tools there. So you
Yeah.
have to be do some compliance-based hunting.
Yeah.
Also, are there any connections from workstations made to domain controllers? That is also
Mm-hmm.
a compliance-based one, because there should be no workstation uh, connecting to end
Yeah.
workstation, end user devices, and also
Yeah.
connecting to domain controllers. That should not happen. So you should use a PAW, so a privilege access workstation. They are only used there for these connections. And then we
Yeah.
are hunting maybe RDP connections to check, are there any RDP connections made from
Mm.
systems which are not used by administrators. That is a hypothesis you can use in your environment, which is
Yeah.
also easy like that, yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
And the last one is, yeah, threat intel and darknet leak credential hunting. So we have also a service to check all um, the darknet leak data
Yep.
with some tools.
Yep.
And when we are seeing some email addresses leaked on some
Yeah.
portals, then we
Mm-hmm.
will check these email addresses. Okay, on which systems are these users acting in the company?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the investigation or threat hunting will start. So normally browser extensions are used for
Mm-hmm.
some exfiltration of passwords,
Yeah.
or also tools. When tools are installed there,
Mm.
we know all these tools with adware or from chip
Mm-hmm.
normally. They are also bundled with poor or adware, and they are
Mm-hmm.
also sometimes using this to send out credentials. And that can also happen with software which is not compliant in
Yeah.
your company.
Yep.
We have seen this a lot of times, that users are installing these tools because
Mm.
they are using this also on their normal workstations at home.
Yeah.
Then they installing this in their on their business laptops, And if this tool is not compliant, or if the tool is downloaded from a suspect or download portal, then it can happen that these credentials can be leaked to the darknet or to threat actors, and they are selling these ones.
Yeah.
And testing if the user is using this password on other platforms. That can happen, yeah. And that is what we are doing on these platforms, on workstations, to check which systems or which software is installed on these systems.
Yeah.
And if we can find some traces, also IP addresses, that is what we are checking. Are there any special URL agents or IP address connections or special ports? So we know all the special ports, 1337 or 1234, or I don't know, four times the 6. These are special ports used by such applications, but they are also using HTTPS or HTTP, and then it's really difficult to check if is it normal or not. But you have to get all the data, so processes, network connections, network IP addresses, DNS connections, URL agents, all these logs you have to get in one place to check if there are some anomalies. That makes your threat hunting easier like that. But if there are some logs missing, then it will be harder for you in the threat hunting part.
Yeah, totally. The first part is to get the data first to make sure that you have visibility, and then you can do all these good stuff on top of it. And it seems like all these threat hunting types are all interrelated. Like you can start somewhere and then you will find more. Like you start from the dark web and then you find that there's something is not compliant, and then you do baseline threat hunting, etc. So almost they are like the teams just need to start somewhere is what I'm getting. Yeah, totally. A quick question about, you mentioned a few of the latest attacker techniques or CVEs and all that. How would you recommend the team to stay on top? Where do you get these information so that you know where to hunt for these?
Yeah, I think the best will be to do some training on Hack the Box or
Okay.
Try Hack Me maybe, to
Yeah.
get all the insights there, to start something. But there
Yes.
are also some other companies or EDR system vendors who are publishing a lot of good stuff in the internet, reports. There are some yearly reports they are publishing. Also, we are publishing some reports from our side to check which tools are used by the threat actors. Are there any tactics or techniques used by the threat actors? So that is something you can check. Also, the news is the best you can get to start also with threat hunting and get all the stuff what is happening in the world outside there. There are some sites I'm using where I get all threat reports. I can give it to you, the site that is totally public.
Okay.
There are all reports stored on the site, and it's updated, I think, on a daily basis. So that's really good to have everything in one place. So we can put it in the channel as a link there, and
Definitely.
that everyone can check what is happening outside there if you are overcrowded with all the news and
Yeah, totally. I guess do you have well, we've already kind of talked about the advice for security teams, like, and any other advice that you would want our audience to take away from how can they put threat hunting into their regular workflows? I know all the security teams are busy, so not all teams are doing threat hunting at the moment. So how would you recommend them to start?
So normally we were talking about the visibility. So prioritize the visibility, because if you can't see it, you can't hunt it. And that's one of the part you should know. So have a good documentation, good network documentation. So do your basics good.
Yes.
If you know use all your systems with all the software placed on this one and all the connections made to these systems, then you have the great visibility. And yeah, also all storing all the granular system events data in one place. That is also
Yes.
because if you don't have all the event data, it will be hard, not also for the administrators or for us as threat hunters.
Yeah.
If there's a breach case or something like that, then also incident response will be getting a hard time to find all the stuff if
Yes.
there's no event data.
Yeah.
Then it's also identify what is normal in your organization. So do a baselining in your
Yeah.
organization, check which tools are used, which remote management tools are used,
Yeah.
and then store it as a baseline, and everything which is not happening in this baseline, that is an anomaly and should
Yeah.
be further investigated.
Yeah.
Yeah, use also check all the known IOCs maybe on threat reports and
Yeah.
yeah, start something. If there are a lot of good reports out there with a lot of IOCs. Normally, I'm not recommending hunting for hashes or IP addresses, but if there's a case in your environment where this IP address is connecting every time, then you can also use this IP address to check are there any other systems exposed to the internet
Yeah.
connecting to this IP address.
Yeah.
Then it will be also some basic hunting, but you
Yeah.
should also use the top of the pyramid of pain. So you have to know
Yeah.
also the threat actors tools and
Yes.
the commands are executed by these tools. And
Yeah.
collecting all these data will you will get a better insight on your network also.
Yeah.
If it's possible, you can also automate what you learn. So when you're seeing you have 10 ARM tools, remote management tools installed in your network, um, and you were deinstalling and removing these tools and only one tool is in place, then you can check, okay, I have these 10 tools found on my system and in my environment. I can make a detection rule for these remote management tools and check every time when such a tool
Yeah.
is installed.
Yeah.
Then I should check more deeper on the system why it was installed by this person or by this user, and
Yeah.
if it's a threat actor or not.
Yeah.
Um, then the last also doing, or one of the last points, make a routine. So doing this on a
Yeah.
daily, monthly, or weekly basis. Um, to hunt for such basic stuff. And
Yeah.
if you do not have the
Like,
appropriate sufficient resources, yeah, there are some companies like InfoGuard or other companies which are doing some threat hunting services.
yeah.
Um, so there are a lot of MSPs that can guide you also in hunting to start something because we are also sharing our stuff when we are hunting for these for exfiltration or armament tools. The customers
Yeah.
will get all the hunting queries, and they can start on their own if they want, and if they want that we can check the outputs from these huntings when they have no time, then it's also possible to check this
Yeah.
together with the customer. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
my advice
Those are,
to the
of
outside there.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Super helpful. Thanks a lot, Renee. I personally learned a lot in our conversation. So
You're welcome.
yeah, I think we already covered like the takeaways. Probably is for me is to start somewhere. We have all like lots of resource out there that we can use. And then also the second thing is we need to have the data first. Not only the data, but they have to be in one place. So I
Mhm.
know we talked about how if they're all in different places, you need to spend all the money, like all the time and resource to stitch them together, which adds in a lot more time. So having them all in one place. Yeah, and then there is a lot of benefit to it on threat hunting. Strengthening security posture is the biggest one that I've heard here, and also just to strengthen the defense of the company in general. So great. And with that, I'm gonna wrap up this episode. Thank you everyone for joining me and Renee on our conversation about threat hunting today. And if you haven't already, check out these two other episodes that we have on our channel. And if you like these type of conversations, do like the video, leave us a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And with that, Renee, we will have some other conversations coming up, so everyone stay tuned for that. And looking forward to seeing everyone again in the next one. Thank you.
Bye.